Welcome back. I have my friend Coach Jenny Lam on today, and she is a Toronto-based integrative nutrition health coach and certified personal trainer. But why I brought her here is because her journey to being what she's at, and she's very successful at what she does, is such an interesting story, and I wanted you all to hear about it. So, Jenny, let's just go straight into it. What I thought was very interesting is you were crushing it as essentially a cocktail waitress, which most people don't necessarily think is going to be that lucrative. You're making real money. So, what made you actually first share about the kind of money you were making? Because that really surprised me. And what made you walk away from it and start over as a trainer?
As a cocktail waitress over here, we call it bottle service waitress because I was working at a bunch of nightclubs. Uh, it was crazy money that I was making, and especially because it was mostly cash. Uh, and you have the opportunity to serve a lot of celebrities and athletes. An average night, let's say 4 hours of work, slow night can be like $300, but then like a good night can be anywhere as like thousands and more. And I remember like my record was, I don't know if I should even share this on live, but my record was, it was a Drake weekend. Drake had a huge concert here in Toronto. Um, and it was a 3 day concert. And that weekend itself, I think I made $12,000
For how
in
many
one
hours of
weekend.
work?
I mean, it was a lot of hours of work because I would start at 9 p.m. and then end at 3 a.m., but it was like 3 nights like that.
But that's still $12,000 is not even what people might make in a week. So doing that, even if it's
Or a
a
month,
one or a month.
or
Hmm.
or a month for some people.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was crazy money. It was fast money, right? But it's
And then,
not. It,
uh-huh.
yeah, go on.
Oh, I was going to say, just so people have perspective, because someone might think, oh, well, that's just every once in a while. Like on average, what would be, if you were to say on an average weekend, rounding out the highs and lows, what would be the kind of take home being a cocktail waitress or a bottle service?
Um, it depends on how many nights I worked, but average weekend you can make minimum 1,000.
Wow. And then were you doing something during the week too, besides?
Yes, I was serving. I was also waitressing during the week
Okay.
at a restaurant, working lunch shifts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in making that kind of money, which is cash, which is even better because we all know cash is king, what made you think about going out of that and becoming a trainer? Like, what was your transition to training?
Oh my God. So I want to go back to talk about my upbringing and
Yes,
like
because yes. In case you
yeah,
know, Jenny is Vietnamese born Chinese. Is that correct? Or
yes. Yeah,
okay,
I'm Chinese. Yeah, Chinese Vietnamese.
yeah,
So I grew up in a big family. My parents are first generation immigrants who came to Canada in the late 70s with my two older sisters to escape the Vietnam War. I was born a few years later, and a lot of kids from immigrant households, I'm sure you know yourself too. I started working very young, at like 10 years old young. Hard work was just part of life. It's what I witnessed from my parents and all I knew. And I remember I once read this quote that stuck with me. There are two most important days in your life: the day that you were born and the day that you realize why. And for me, that second day came much later for me. Um, Even while I was working in nightlife, I always fantasized about starting my own business. I just couldn't figure out what it would be. Even at 26 years old, I I even opened a nail salon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I opened a nail salon at 26 to make my parents proud because like most Vietnamese parents would love to their kids to own a nail salon.
Hmm.
But I quickly learned it wasn't for me, so that didn't work out. I thought about starting a lash extension business or even like cupcake business because I know like at one point cupcakes were really big in New York, and I remember
Uh-huh.
visiting New York and I saw the cupcake thing and I'm like, oh, I need to bring it to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So I even tried that. I tried different things, but I never loved them enough to commit. So I actually started in nightlife as a club promoter first before I became a bottle service waitress. And that's where I learned marketing and building relationships. When I moved into bottle service, those skills made me stand out. I wasn't just showing up, looking pretty, and taking whatever tables I was assigned to. I was actively promoting every club I worked at and became the go-to person for all their nightlife needs. But after 10 years of late nights, poor diet, little sleep, my health started to decline. I remember how I once had this chronic cough that wouldn't go away. And when I finally went to the doctor, he prescribed me an inhaler. I remember looking at it and thinking, I refuse to be someone who needs this for the rest of my life. So at 28, I decided to take matters in my own hands and I joined the gym. I told myself, okay, I got 2 years before I turn 30. Let's see if I can get into the best shape of my life. And then somewhere along the way, I fell in love with the process. Just showing up, staying consistent, eating healthy. My coworkers all began asking me for workout tips, nutrition tips. And that's when the idea of becoming a trainer popped up. At first, I kind of hesitated because the only trainers I knew worked at big box gyms,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't make a lot of money. I think it was like $14 an hour at the time. It was hard to imagine taking a step back financially, especially with a mortgage to pay. And I was also raising my niece at the same time. But then I met a successful trainer and health coach who was like driving a nice car, living in a nice condo. And he showed me what was possible. Right. So that was like my light bulb moment. My lifestyle no longer aligned with nightlife too, because as I was getting healthier, I realized I need to go to bed earlier. So, and I knew I wanted to help people transform their health the way I transformed mine. So this may be a little bit corny, but it was like New Year's Eve 2015. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. And that's when I made the leap.
But was it an overnight leap, or had you been gradually adding more training in for clients, and then so that you had some overlap?
It was overlap, definitely, because I still had to get certified.
Mm-hmm.
And it was challenging because you know, I had to, I'm just trying to remember the time.
Uh-huh.
I was still serving tables, and I
Yep.
remember taking up a line of credit to pay for my courses.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people would have done that, but
Yeah, I had to
yep.
take a line of credit to take my courses, take a step back. I had to quit nightlife completely. I still kept my day, like my lunch shifts at the restaurant, but it wasn't enough to pay my bills.
Yeah.
So
I think
it was
what
challenging.
I was like, what people, if you can see this in video, Jenny's actually 40, even though you don't look 40. And then you've been training now for 10 years?
Yeah, for 10 years,
So, and then how long were you a bottle service waitress?
10 years.
So essentially 10 years in each career. So like at least 10 years before you switched. Um, what really stood out for me is when we got to meet in person and you talked about some of your mentors. Could you share like some of maybe your philosophy on how you choose your mentors and your coaches?
Well, as you know, being an independent trainer, it can be really lonely.
Mhm.
Pre-pandemic, I was going from one condo gym to another all day, like running around the city. And you live in New York, you know what it's like, right?
Yep,
And it's
we
like
take the
that
train
here
to
in
go.
Toronto. Yeah.
Yep.
And the great thing about Toronto has so many condo buildings that are with fully equipped gyms, but it meant that I wasn't in one space surrounded by other trainers. I
Yeah.
didn't have that built-in community to bounce ideas off or learn from. And things have really shifted for me when I got my CFSC, Certified Functional Strength Coach, by Mike Boyle. That was my first certification I had to travel for. It opened my eyes to the bigger world of coaching. And it's actually how I discovered Ben Bruno and my current coach, Sam Siasi, or Chacha.
Uh-huh.
I reached out to them both for training sessions because I believe success leaves clues. The best thing you can do is go directly to successful people, pay for the time, and soak up everything you can. And when I met Ben in 2019, he was so generous to offer me his time. He showed me his space, and that was what inspired me to open up my own space in my own home gym to train my
Right,
clients.
because he trains out of it. In case people don't know, Ben Bruno trains people like Chelsea Handler, some famous basketball players, famous comedians. A lot. He's in LA. He trains out of his garage gym, I'm assuming.
Yeah, from his garage gym. Like he taught me a lot about, especially about where he's situated too, because he's in Beverly Hills. So he mentioned that if he was working down the valley, his rate would go drastically by like 50% lower.
Mm-hmm.
So where you place yourself really matters. And then because of a lot of his high-end clients prefer to train with him in his space because it's for privacy reasons.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, and when we saw his space, I'm like, hey, this is totally possible that we can probably build something like this.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So he thought it through as in he wanted his home or his training space to be in Beverly Hills. So even if it was kind of
Well, no, Beverly Hills just happened to be somewhere he was living at, right?
oh, okay.
And he built his garage gym for himself to train. And then I
Okay.
remember he was telling me how some of his clients saw it. And he's like, oh, why don't I just train there with you? And
Okay. Yeah.
that's what happened. I'm like, that
Yeah.
was like so cool to learn that and hear that from him. So
Yeah.
that inspired me a lot,
Who are
right?
some of them besides him and Sam? And Sam is, I love that you train with Sam because she's one of the few female leaders
Mm-hmm.
in the strength industry. Um, who are some other people or mentors that you have had or have right now?
Jason and Lauren Pack were my first real mentors.
I love it.
They taught me so much about creating content, introduced me to kettlebells, and encouraged me to hop on Zoom during the pandemic when everything shut down.
Yeah.
And like, over the years, I've just become obsessed with learning from the best.
Mm-hmm.
So, my mentor, Sam, as we mentioned, and then currently I'm also working with Jordan Syatt and Mike Vacanti, the Mind Pump guys. And then Hunter Klein from KBCU is where you met me.
Yep.
Jill Coleman, which I know you took PPSU too.
Yep.
She's
We
like
both.
the OG.
She is. She's been doing this.
Yeah, she's been
I
doing
think
this for
over
so
10 years.
long.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
She's
she's like
one of the
the
few.
very few. Yeah, of like online fitness business, and then also Matthew Ibrahim.
Oh,
He
I don't think I know him.
coaches. He's amazing too for like athletic coaching and teaching. He's OG for YouTube.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
every single one of them have shaped how I coach, run my business, and even how I think about the industry. So for
yeah.
me, like choosing a mentor is all about alignment, finding people who live what they teach and have the kind of career and lifestyle I want to model
Mm-hmm.
and would push me to level up.
So is there one or two things that have really stuck? I know you've had a lot of different mentors that kind of give you shape the way you are, but anything that really a mentor that had a big impact in whether it's how you coach or how you run your business, there's always like certain standout things.
How I coach, I would say like because I spend so much time with Bell Mechanics and I'm one of Sam's head coaches for her certification. She has completely helped sharpen my coach's eye maybe it's like her medical background, but she's taught me how to really see movement. Um, like I can watch a client do an exercise and instantly break it down biomechanically, which is something I couldn't do before, right? Like you can look
Hmm.
at something, you're like, oh, it looks off, but I couldn't pinpoint it, but now I can.
Yeah.
So like I can usually triage what's happening. Is it the setup? Is it the execution? Is it a technique issue?
Hmm.
That skill has been a game changer for me, because instead of giving a blanket cue, I can pinpoint exactly what needs to be fixed so the
Yeah.
client moves better, feels stronger, and stays safe.
I like
And
that.
then
That's mhm.
yeah, so it's made me far more intentional and effective coach, and it's one of those skills I know I'll keep refining for the rest
Yeah.
of my career.
That's a very big what's the verb? Advocation for bell mechanics, the kettlebell training, because I don't think there's any certification in kettlebells that focus so much on, as you're saying, the mechanics of the body and how it moves. What about in terms of business?
For business, uh, Jordan Syatt, Jason and Lauren Pack, and Jill has really helped me with marketing.
Uh-huh. And they're all very
Yeah,
different too in how they
they're
market.
very different. It's very different, but I think it's all about giving. They teach me how to give a lot. So just give solutions, give to build trust.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, and they all align with the same thing, is just keep giving. And I think
that's true. Yep.
during the pandemic when everything shut down, that was my first thought, like, well, how can I give?
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's give everyone free IG live workouts,
Yeah. I love
right?
that. Um, and I wanted to know, I mean, this is more background, because I think I asked you this when we were together. Because I know when I told my parents how I was changing jobs to become a trainer, they have a certain perception. They're like, um, I think they were not exactly thrilled, but your parents had a slightly different take. Can you talk about that?
My parents were not thrilled at all.
Oh, they weren't. Oh, I thought they
No,
did.
no,
So,
no. My mom was not supportive. My mom, I remember like telling my mom that because for Chinese, I couldn't explain to her what a personal trainer is.
yes, that's
So
exactly it.
yeah, so I was telling her, okay, I'm thinking about quitting waitressing to become a personal trainer. So I told her, like in um, translation, I'm going to become a personal gym teacher for
Uh-huh.
adults.
Yep. Yeah.
And my mom was like, gym teacher? You're not going to make any money. Why don't you? And I get where she's coming from, because for her, she cared, especially for someone who is an immigrant who, like, have to leave a war to come to his country. She
Yeah.
just wants safety, right?
Absolutely.
And she wants
Stability and
safety for
safety.
me,
Hmm.
stability and safety. And she's like, you're
Yep.
already doing very well. You're making money. You're supporting yourself. Why would you want to become a teacher now?
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Like, why would you
Um,
leave something that's already been shown to be a sure thing to do something that you is not necessarily a sure thing?
exactly. Um, but I thought like that just lit a fire in me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to prove it to you that I can do this. Yeah. So they were not supportive.
Wait, I forgot. Do you have siblings?
I
You
do. I
do have
have
siblings.
four
Yep.
sisters.
And what are they doing? So that, because I feel like with siblings, it's always like, well, so and so, there's always the not necessarily in a mean way, the comparison.
There's not much for them to compare. I think they just wanted all of us to.
Have a
Uh,
stable financial
yeah,
situation.
yeah, exactly. Like my second eldest sister, she's a IT manager.
Hmm.
She's been working for our like local like liquor company for over, I don't know, 20 years.
Hmm.
So she's had a stable job for forever. So they're very proud of her. My oldest sister is a chef. She cooks. And then my youngest sister is a waitress. So it's not that like there's much for my family to compare.
Yeah. What of all of them are you the most successful?
Um, I I think they're the most proud of, but
Hmm.
even though they don't say
I understand. Yeah.
it.
You know what I was thinking when if someone wants to make a change because it's one thing how you kind of gave it a try. And I know being an independent trainer can be hard because it's the finding business. Can you talk about like how you grew your business from making that change into being a personal trainer, how you find clientele, how you market? You know, what are some ways that you did that found clients?
Some ways at how I found clients.
Hmm.
I love this question because I'm going to bring it back to this very cool thing I did.
Hmm.
Um, so I'll never forget this one moment. I posted a video. This is before I was even certified to become a trainer. I posted a video of me exercising on Instagram. And at first, I was going to throw up an inspirational quote because at the time that was a cool thing to do. But instead, I decided to write something like, if you need help with your fitness journey, send me a message. And then I was overwhelmed with the response. Honestly, a part of me felt like an imposter. I wasn't even certified yet. And then I saw a message from one of my childhood friends and thought, okay, I can start by helping her. That was my very first client. And then around the same time, this is like my journey. I went to my friend Ivan, who co-owns Fit Factory, a studio in Toronto. And I asked him if I could teach an abs class there. He said yes, but his business partner at the time was like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Like, because I'm very shy. As a person, I'm very shy. And like, I didn't scream group fitness instructor. So I told myself, okay, I just need to get my reps in then. So that same summer, I started running free boot camp classes at a park to practice. My promoter background came in handy, and I knew how to draw a crowd, and I was consistent about posting the classes on Instagram. I use Instagram a lot as a tool to share my journey, document my clients' progress, and promote my classes at Fit Factory. And then that summer, while I was still offering free classes, someone reached out asking if I could teach a class at a different park, and over 20 people showed up. That was the first time ever that I made $200 in an hour, and I remember thinking, "Wow, this could be something." So, and then I think this whole transition too, one of the hardest adjustment was going from going to bed at 5 a.m. to waking up at 5 a.m.
Oh my
Like
God, you
when,
used to go to bed at 5 a.m.? I can't even
yeah, well,
imagine that.
because cash out is at 3, and by the
Uh-huh.
time, well, like cash out is at 2 a.m. By the time I finish cashing out, depending on where I am in line with all the bottle service girls,
Yeah.
I can get home as late as 5 a.m. Right? So
That
my
is
whole
so,
body clock had to change.
yeah. Oh, literally from, it's like doing a
Yeah.
complete flip.
So, but like I remember in the early days, like what really got me out of bed every morning to train my 6 a.m. clients was that I had the opportunity to change someone's life today. Like that just somehow got me up every day.
That's pretty incredible. So everything you're saying sounds like that there's not things that you're afraid of other or that you doubt. But what are some of the things that, you feel apprehensive about? Because otherwise anyone listening would be like, Jenny's not afraid of anything.
I just like to try it out, and try things out. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
So in other words, it's almost like you have a perspective of it's like an experiment, but you're not putting so much weight on it that you'll be destroyed if it doesn't work out.
Yeah,
I
pretty
really
much.
like that approach. I think it's taken me time to get to that point where like, oh, I'm going to do a whatever product launch, sell this program, but you don't know how it's going to turn out until afterwards.
Well, I remember my first product launch online. It was like one of Jill's nudges, like just post it in your story and see what happens. So that's exactly what I did. I didn't even create the product yet. I
Mm-hmm.
literally went to my story. I'm like, I'm thinking about creating an online program. Who's interested?
Uh-huh.
Right. And then I had like over 10 people interested. I'm like, okay. And then one of them paid me for whatever it was. Like, whatever you're creating, here's money for it. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay, I
wow.
guess now I have to create this thing.
That's a lot of trust. That someone
Yeah.
would pay, then you hadn't even detailed what was in the program.
Yeah. I was like, well, at the time I was already teaching Zoom classes, but I wanted to take a step back from Zoom classes because it was taking so much of my time.
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking, okay, we'll still offer one Zoom class plus a written program that you can go follow at your own time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I put that idea in my Instagram story, and then 10 people were interested. And I'm like, okay, here's my first beta testing.
That's right. I love it. Um, this question kind of relates to now, you know what, working hard and working in fitness and also in basically hospitality. So, how would you describe what hard work looks like working in fitness? It doesn't, and in the way everyone normally thinks just do more sessions, like just train more clients, but that's not necessarily the most efficient way, you know, to make a living. So for you, how would you describe hard work?
I've always told myself, you choose your hard at the end of the day. Only you get to decide what hard means to you.
Mm-hmm. I like
For
that.
me, yeah. And I repeat that in my head, even in the beginning of
Mm-hmm.
my days. I'm like, okay, getting up at 5 a.m. You choose your hard. This is the hard I get to decide to choose today, right? For me now, hard work isn't just about grinding for the sake of it,
Mm-hmm.
filling my schedule with clients and running around the city without a plan. Hard work looks like doing the early mornings after years of late nights, right? It's
Yeah.
staying consistent when results aren't instant.
Yep.
It's finding solution when things don't go as planned. When the pandemic hit, I went from fully booked to zero clients overnight. I'm pretty sure you remember what that was like.
Yeah.
Were you coaching at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah. But instead of panicking, I reached out to every single client and offered them a free Zoom session and just to try it out. If they didn't like it, they could wait until things reopen. I also started offering free IG Live classes, like I was mentioning earlier,
Mm-hmm.
just to keep people moving and connected. And that's
Yeah.
actually how I started coaching online and group classes. Um, some clients stuck with me virtually at the time, with
Yeah.
others, and then I adapted again. I remember also during the pandemic, I used to lug gym equipments to the park every single day,
Mm-hmm.
checking the weather to make sure it wasn't going to rain, coaching while making sure we were like social distancing. Those were like hard times. But hard work is also continuing to improve your skills, even when no one's watching.
Yeah.
It's investing in yourself so you can serve people better.
Yep.
That's what grit is to me too. It's not just pushing harder, it's staying in the game, finding a way forward and doing the work because your purpose matters more than your comfort.
Yeah. I love that. And then the last question I have for you, Miss Jenny, is say like it's hard to give just general advice. If someone is doing something, a kind of job for a long time, and they want to make a switch or been, you know, have been thinking about transitioning to a completely different career, how would, if that was your sister, what would you tell her?
I'm going to do another quote because,
Yeah, quotes are great.
quotes are great. So, like, I once read a quote that you should have three hobbies: one that makes you money, one that keeps you in shape, and one that keeps you creative. And sometimes one of those hobbies can grow into something the thing that you actually want to do for a living. For me, luckily, those three things are that one thing.
Oh, I love that. And for
Right?
some, and it doesn't have to be
It doesn't have to be.
like one
Right.
activity fills all three. It could be just three different activities, but each one fulfilling you in a different way.
Yeah. And if you're good at your current job, it's probably because, like Malcolm Gladwell says in Outliers, you put in your 10,000 hours of work. But
Yep.
remember, you can put in 10,000 hours into something new too.
Yep.
It just starts with taking that first small step. You don't have to quit your job tomorrow, start exploring. You can start exploring on the side, like what I did.
Yeah.
Take a course, shadow someone in the field, volunteer, or work with a mentor, which also what I did.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself permission to be a beginner again and focus on building your reps. When I was making my own career change, I didn't know exactly how it would work out, but I stayed curious, kept learning, and surrounded myself with people who were already doing what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then that made the leap a lot less scary because I could see what was possible. And at the end of the day, your dream career won't land in your lap. You have to start building it brick by brick. And the earlier you start, the sooner you'll look back and realize you've put in those 10,000 hours of work doing something you actually love.
I love that as our last words for the podcast. For anyone looking for Jenny, I'm going to put your IG and your website in the show notes. And is there anything, I didn't write this in the prep, but that you want people to know in terms of something a program that you've got coming up, or how to find you in Toronto?
Well, they can find me if you're putting up on Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram at SoulmateFit, SOULMATEFIT. I do have an upcoming program in September. It's my September Shred program, which is going to be 6 weeks long. It's fun. There's 2 fitness levels, beginner and advanced. You can follow it at home or you can follow it at a gym. And we have a great community that I've built together. So I'm excited for any woman over 30 who wants to join this program.
Fantastic. Thank you all for listening, and I look forward to talking to you next week.
I'm Coach Tina. For more information about how to work with me, head to ironstrongfitness.com and send me a message. I'll see you next time.